It's a common sense recap of the big stories. It's Katz and Cosby on 77 WABC. Breaking news, WABC.
Well, there is some breaking news. The Democratic Party looks like they've been cheating on that program. What's the name of that program, Judge?
Act Blue.
Act Blue.
That's one of their campaign gimmicks.
How did they say it in that movie Casablanca? I'm shocked.
That's right.
The Democratic Party is cheating?
Dark money. Miranda Devine has broken this story.
State Attorneys General looking into it.
Okay, the House Republicans asked 5 state attorneys general to investigate this because the violation, these are crimes, and Miranda Devine has broken that story.
A great investigative journalist, and she joins us now, of course, with the New York Post. Miranda, take it away, these big explosive details.
I guess they're not that explosive.
I guess maybe they exploded. Maybe the Democrats were listening to us on that one. What do you think, Gov?
Where's the control room?
Do you notice whenever it has to do with like some big explosive details that has to do with the Democrats, what are you guys doing here, Gov?
It's, basically canceling out the transmission so that the public can't hear it.
Hey, we just got through. Miranda, you broke through on the laptop.
Hi, Rita. Hi, John. Hi, everybody. I'm so sorry. I think that you're probably right. There was some sort of evil interference because obviously the Democrats do not like this story at all. This is, their main online fundraising platform, Act Blue, and there's been suspicions about it for a long time. Kamala Harris has had tens of millions of dollars from it poured into her coffers. And now we have this committee in the House run by Republicans, and they've done an investigation with some really crack money laundering experts, and they've discovered several anomalies, hundreds and maybe thousands of anomalies. They've looked at 14 years worth of donations, and they've found that there are countless people who they could not afford. They're on like $40,000 a year incomes, and they're donating $60,000 a year to Act Blue, and it all gets laundered through, elderly people that have never donated. They're on the books. Republicans who would never vote for Act Blue, who are surprised when they're contacted and told that they've been donating every week. It's really shady, and one of the things that they discovered was that the use of these sort of gift cards and debit cards that have no, that 3-digit credit card number, these numbers are not needed, and so they're managing to, they'll get a big donation from some dark money group, and then they split it up into small donations and launder them through gift cards. So these are all the allegations, and they're being sent to these 5 Republican attorneys general.
Miranda, is it foreign money too?
Yes, that's certainly the suspicion. And in fact, I can't tell you the exact details, but I'm working on a story at the moment of several $100 million from Ukraine that went to the Democrats that was laundered in that way through these cards that don't have a 3-digit number. Yep, that was
not only is Zelensky. Oh my God, I don't want to say anything more. They're going to come and take me. They're going to come and take me away.
By the way, that's a big amount of money. You just said several $100 million, correct? That's enormous.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, Miranda.
Well, at least $500 million.
Miranda, this may be, to our knowledge, the single biggest campaign fraud, finance fraud in America's history. This is absolutely outstanding work by you.
Well, no, look, I can't claim a huge amount of credit. I really, this is the work of the administrative, I've got their name wrong, the Services Committee that have done this work. And it's still a work in progress. I mean, they've done a sort of a data investigation, and this is what money laundering experts say is glaringly obvious, but it still needs to be taken to the next level, and that's why it's been referred to these state attorneys general who have these straw donors in their states so they can launch a criminal investigation.
Is that because they don't trust the federal government to do it?
No, I think it's... Well, yes.
Would you trust the Department of Justice to do it right now?
Yeah, well, I mean, 100%. As if Merrick Garland's Department of Justice is ever going to launch an inquiry, A, and B, because these straw donors, they're victims basically. Their identities have been used without their knowledge to become these fake donors, and they live in the states, and so that's a state crime, and that's why. And these Republican attorneys general are going to be much more reliable in prosecuting a crime like that rather than the DOJ, which we know during the Hunter Biden investigation obstructed and pulled their punches and slow walked it to ensure that he really didn't get into as much trouble as he should have.
Yeah, absolutely. And Miranda Devine, you just gave me the perfect segue. You got a new book coming out, by the way, called The Big Guy, appropriately. and also, I can't wait, by the way, to read it. I'm so excited because you always get such great stuff. But it also talks about essentially Blinken being the cover-up and chief expert.
Yes, that's right. Anthony Blinken and Joe Biden go way back from when Blinken was a young staffer in Biden's Senate days. And, of course, he was an aspiring Secretary of State during the 2020 campaign. And so when our story about the laptop from hell first broke 3 weeks before that election, Anthony Blinken was put in charge of damage control. And, of course, he made the phone call to the former acting director of the CIA, a man by the name of Morell, who then put in train that dishonest letter signed by 51 of his intelligence colleagues, former intelligence officials, mostly from the CIA, who lied and said that the laptop, and therefore our story, was Russian disinformation. Although they used weasel words, they said had all the earmarks of a Russian information operation. And they're actually using those words to try and pretend that they didn't do anything dishonest. But, obviously it was printed immediately in all the media as a Russian disinformation operation. The general public did not make any distinction, neither did they. And in fact, they didn't push back at all at what they're pretending now was a media misrepresentation of their words. They, in fact, fanned out James Clapper, John Brennan. They were on MSNBC, they were on CNN, promoting the story and doubling down and saying that Donald Trump and the Republicans and the New York Post were complicit in this Russian disinformation operation.
Yeah, amazing. Judge Weinberg.
And Miranda, also part of your article in the Post and in the book, you're talking about Blinken's relationship with his fellow Malley, who really is an Iranian plant working at the closest levels of secrecy in the Iranian issues facing our country, and putting together the deal for the Iran nuclear deal, which is a sellout of this country.
And also still continuing to be on security calls. I mean, you can't make it up.
It's unbelievable. It's Robert Malley, who was the Obama-era U.S. envoy to Iran, and then after Trump disbanded Iran nuclear deal. Then Biden comes in and reanimates it and brings back Robert Malley again as the Iran envoy. Robert Malley is a childhood friend from Paris of Anthony Blinken, who went to school and grew up in Paris. Blinken brought him into the State Department as the envoy. And then last year, Malley was suspended and had his security clearance taken away without pay because there was an FBI investigation into alleged mishandling of classified information. And, of course, he was suspected of giving his Iranian friends classified material. Now, that investigation is still going on, but of course, Robert Malley, while on suspension, has been given a plum gig at Yale, of course.
Of course. Miranda, Ed Cox has a quick question.
Just briefly, one of the most shocking things was that kind of a letter has to be cleared internally at the CIA, and they cleared it.
Yes, and not only did they clear it, it was the letter, because it was so political, was sent upstairs, and Gina Haspel, the then CIA director under Donald Trump, gave it the green light.
Wow.
Wow, that's interesting. That is interesting.
Of course, the CIA knew that the laptop was not Russian disinformation because the FBI had had it for almost a year. They'd had it for 10 months, and they had already looked into it, investigated it, and cleared it as being perfectly sound to use in a court of law as evidence. They knew
Miranda,
it was Russian disinformation.
thank you. You know what this means? The deep state is getting deeper.
Yes, and this is what concerns me, is that they pulled out all stops to make sure that Donald Trump did not win the 2020 election. And they know that now he is, if he does win this in November, that he will be dismantling the deep state apparatus that tried to destroy him. And they are going to make sure that doesn't happen. So I'm extremely concerned about what lengths they will go to ensure that Donald Trump
the lengths they're going to go to is close to murder.
Yep.
Well, we've just seen two attempted assassinations of Donald Trump, and I hope that there aren't any more, but, that can't be guaranteed. And the fact that Donald Trump has had such inadequate Secret Service protection, even after the first assassination attempt, it tells you a lot.
Thank you, Miranda.
Sure does.